The issues discussed on the Roll Call Room podcast do not reflect the opinions of any specific agency. Any characters discussed on this show may be fictional for comedic value unless you're a shitbag Steve. This podcast is rated explicit and listener discretion is advised.
The wolf on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill.
It's not easy going it alone, but if you keep going, stay true to yourself, it will be worth it in the end. The hardest walk you can make is the walk you make alone. But that is the walk that makes you the strongest. That is the walk that builds your character the most. To all of you fighting battles alone, to all of you going against the grain, battling the naysayers, stay strong. Keep going. Stay strong. Keep going. This walk is hard, but the hardest walks lead to the greatest destinations. The toughest climbs always lead to the best views. It will be worth it in the end. And if you show what you are made of, the right people will show up in your life. You won't be a lone wolf forever. You have qualities only few can admire because most don't possess. You have strength only few can understand because most have never experienced. So don't give in. Don't settle. Don't lower your expectations to fit into the world. You were born to stand out. You were born to lead. Lead the pack. They say the wolf on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. Always be that wolf climbing the hill. Always hungry for more. Always hungry to grow, to feed your mind and rise to the highest level you can take yourself. Never looking back, always looking forward to the next feast of success in whatever you do. It does not matter if you have to walk alone for a while. It is much better to walk alone in the right direction than to follow the herd walking in the wrong direction. Stay strong. Be different. Your destiny is in your hands. Get out there and hunt it.
download or stream to any device worldwide. FearlessMotivation.com.
Hello, and welcome to the Roll Call Room podcast that pissed off shitbag Steve Commanders and cost my daddy his job, and then pissed them off yet again with his #1 book, Mental Health Barricade, on Amazon. And now your host, my Uncle Mike, and best-selling author, my daddy. Fuck you, Commanders. Up your ass.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Roll Call Room podcast. With me are two very special guests. Mike is not with us. Mike sent me a text message earlier, and he said, I'm going to read it. It says, I am at the National My Little Pony Convention. Just scored the best little pony. Smiley face, unicorn emoji, smiley face, heart face. Okay. With me is Swagger and Turk. They have started a new podcast, which we're going to say they're going to say what podcast. And then we're going to let you guys know how this all came about and go from there. Guys, welcome to the show. How you been?
Good, man.
Doing good.
Super
Thanks
excited.
for having us.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. So what's the name of your podcast? I can say it, but I like for you guys to say it.
It's called the Spinning Our Gears podcast.
And it's a law enforcement podcast, correct? Or law enforcement geared podcast.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is near and dear to my heart because you guys just started this up, correct?
Yeah, we've been in the works for about a year now, but we just started recording in 2022.
Damn, a year. Holy shit. You guys are
We
planning
wanted to do it right. Yeah, we didn't want to do it wrong, so
Well, unfortunately, any way you do it is going to be wrong. So, you're still on the job, so that kind of adds a dangerous element to it. I know from experience, the fans know they have followed us. But it's a fun time. I remember starting this podcast, and it's a fun time because you're kind of feeling things out. You're kind of feeling, what works, what doesn't work, what pisses people off, specifically at the higher chain level. You kind of discover what the third rail is and try and stay away from it. Or if you're me, you put your tongue on it, you just, so these are the exciting times for you, I would imagine, right? Oh, but scary at the same time, right?
Yeah, we know we're trying to figure out where the line's at to draw and then touch it and maybe come back from it right now.
Is there really a line though? I mean,
No,
are
I
you
think
guys
we're
getting
past
feedback from people? Are you guys getting feedback from people?
tons of it.
Tons of feedback.
It's
Yeah.
positive, right?
Yeah. So like
All
we were
positive
saying-
so far.
like we were saying a little bit ago, we'll release an episode, and then 30 minutes we've got people wanting to know when the next one comes out. So that's very humbling.
That's a good sign, man. That's a good sign. And we talked about it off air, which is that law enforcement pretty much for the last 18 months to 2 years now, pretty much have gotten our nuts cut off. Proactivity is kind of been squashed or beaten out of people, and folks are in cars and they're dying for content, whether it's comedy or it's real discussion about law enforcement, about the daily job. And you don't find that. You find a lot of sterile law enforcement podcasts. I will say that. There's a lot of sterile ones. And those are usually the ones that make it to the top 10 in like law enforcement magazines and online publications because they're safe. And chiefs endorse them because they're safe. They don't rock the boat. They're more of like, I love handling domestics. Aren't they fantastic? They're like, I love my job. I run in every single day and I just sing show tunes because I love being in law enforcement right now. The leadership is so supportive. Yippee!
Yet all the tread on their boots is still there, and all of the coats of polish is still there also.
Ask them to see their ticket book, and it's like got like the bottom right hand corner's got like copyright 1985 on it. Like they've never fucking traded in their.
They think we're still pressing hard for the 5 copies.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if I ever, I've been offered one chief of police position since I've left law enforcement. I've interviewed for a couple of them, and the ones that I didn't get, I know the reason why I didn't get them was because I'm a rock the boat kind of person. That, and I won't suck somebody off for the job. And I would require my command staff to work one full shift a month, and I don't think that's unreasonable. And I don't mean work a full shift as in your leadership position. I mean you get a beat number and you run a shift like you are running calls for service. It keeps you sharp. It lets you appreciate where you came from. It makes you a better manager because you understand what your people are going through. And it also, it lets you think about things that can be changed to make life easier for people. And you just don't see that. You don't see that. You see it more in the smaller departments where they have like 10 or 12 officers. The chief, they're out there working because they have to. They're not really, because of staffing. And I understand with larger departments like the NYPD and the LAPD, that's kind of hard to do. But there's ways. There's ways to make some of these commanders, brush off those old boots.
Yeah, and like you said, the past like 18 months or so with, law enforcement just kind of sitting on their hands because they don't want to get sued for anything. That's no different than the same reason why commanders aren't wanting to come out and push the beat either. They're concerned that they're going to get sued. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, really. Yeah,
I mean, I get emails from a lot of folks that are like, I got this one commander that's barks orders at us, and he hasn't been out on the street. And, we talked about it off the air, which is that we're seeing the same stuff happening over and over when there's a chief of police position open. They always hire the guy or the gal who has 35, 40 years in law enforcement. Those shouldn't be the ones that you're hiring for chief of police. Those should be the ones that you should be hiring for janitorial staff. Like those fucking dinosaurs need to like go out to pasture. Like you need Officer Smith, who's been riding a fucking motor unit for fucking 25 years. And he's just grit. He's grit. He's been there. He's dragged his knuckles. He's been fucked over a few times. He understands what it's like. Those are the people that you need to see start coming in these leadership positions. And the other thing is we're in such a weird time that why would you want people that have been in this job for 35 years running a department? Like it's a different. It doesn't drive any change,
that's for sure.
No. I mean, people are leaving in record numbers, and some municipalities are offering early retirement. People are putting in fucking papers and record number. I couldn't even imagine it. Like if I had to go back again and do it all over again, I would have done it just the same way, but just a lot sooner. Because I couldn't do what you guys do now. I just couldn't do it. I'd be fired. It'd be like one shift and I'd be fired. It'd be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. But I will tell you, working for yeah, you're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. We don't know why you're here. It's go ahead.
I was just going to hit that last point. I think it's always funny when, a commander puts out an email about some suspect we've been dealing with. Like it's the first time they've heard the name, but everyone else boots to the streets has heard the name 100 times in the past week, and they know exactly who it is. We don't need the email.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's not just that place. It's everywhere, man. Like I would always, that's a good point that you bring up, because I'd always laugh when they'd come into roll call, like a lieutenant or a captain, and they bring in that like fucking wanted poster, and they're like, Snoopy's wanted, you got to be careful, and this and that. And you're like, fucking, we deal with Snoopy all the fucking time. Who the fuck? Like, come out to the streets. Do you even know where fucking McDonald's is? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And then because there's not a lot of proactive policing going on right now, and they're bored, they have turned inward to patrol inward. Like, the micromanaging and the frivolous internal investigations that go on now are just astounding. Like, you're like, you guys know you have a recruiting problem, right? Like, you should be throwing a lot more pizza parties. Like,
Well, and would you
fix everything?
Would you agree that micromanaging is coming from supervisors who sat on their hands for 10 years and they faked it till they maked it, and now it's time that, because they don't know what they're doing, they start micromanaging?
It's funny that you say that. A good friend of mine, Travis Yates, he wrote a really good police leadership book, and one of his entire chapters is about that. It's about that type of leader, and the ones that are really hardcore, like micromanagers, it's a form of insecurity. It's as much doubt I can put on other people around me, I look more competent. But in reality, you look like a fucking idiot. Every department has.
Let's say one of my coworkers called it covering up your star to make theirs look brighter.
Fucking 100%. 100%. It's very rare to find somebody that leads from the front and that cultivates future leaders. I think when you hit the stripe level and you're a sergeant, you should instantly be looking for your replacement, because you can't move up if you don't have qualified people underneath you. Like, and it just doesn't happen. Like, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and it sucks. It really, it sucks. This profession 20 years ago was fucking awesome. I loved it. It was like a brotherhood / sisterhood. Everybody took good care of each other. Everybody hung out outside of work. There was a camaraderie, and now it's like camaraderie? Shift is over. Everybody is like scatters. Like, nobody talks to each other off duty. And if you ever leave the profession, like I did, I fucking talked to two people out of over 300. That's sad, man. That's insane. It's insane. It's even worse when you retire. It's like, as soon as they give you your fucking like shadow box, it's like you're dead. They're just like, here's your shadow box, and see.
Well, and so when you were going through your stuff at the department, how many people were reaching out wanting gossip, and how many were reaching out making sure you were okay?
That was a tough one. It was pretty much 50-50, but I was astounded at how many people were wolves in sheep clothes. Like, when I got pushed out of my department, people that I truly respected, people that worked for me that I saved their jobs, were calling me to get information to report back to command staff, even though I wasn't working there anymore. And then they were creating fake Facebook accounts. So when we were doing our Facebook lives, they would come on and they would, and it was clear that it was people that worked at my old agency. So that's a really good question. And the answer is that, the ones that were like really wanted to know how I was doing eventually just died out completely. Like, they just stopped talking to me, period. Because as this show kept on going on and on and on, it didn't stop me from talking about my former agency, because my number one goal was, when I left, to get my chief of police removed. I was going for him. Like, I was gunning for him. If I was done with law enforcement, you were going to be done with law enforcement. And that was my only goal, was that. And I bombarded that man every other fucking day with a FOIA request. I made his life a living fucking hell until a series of FOIA requests that I did uncovered some lies that he did to the rank and file. He lied about the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol, and I FOIA'd his emails, and it's clear as day. He fucking lied about it, and he
How do you live
he
with
had no
yourself?
choice.
How do you
Like,
look
the
yourself in the
city
mirror?
finally was like, yeah, he was a piece of shit, man. Like, I fucking hated that dude. Like, but it was funny. It became like a fucking, like, it became a game, like, to just fuck with him on a fucking daily basis. Like, and then there were people now that reach out every once in a while that thought I was fucking crazy when I left my department and what I was talking about on this show. They were like, they reached out recently and they were like, you were right. That the former chief, he was a fucking asshole and he was doing this and he was doing that. And I was like, where the fuck were all you people? Like, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. It was a bad police department, just really, really bad.
It's funny that you bring up the fake Facebook accounts and all that, because that's kind of a suspicion that we have going on right now. So I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of when I brought up to Turk. I'm like, they're watching, man.
Oh, they're watching. They're watching very, very closely what you're posting. And they're going to be listening to this episode. So this is Nick. So when you transcribe it, one, go fuck yourself. And two, I will tell you, because I went through this legal battle. Like, that was the other thing. Me and my former co-host, we got attorneys involved in it, and it was just for a fucking podcast. Like, I can understand if I was Joe Rogan and I fucking had $100 million contract with Spotify. I don't even get no fucking money out of this. Like, and they were fucking busting our balls. So we had attorneys look at it. And they were like, because we thought we didn't have any right as law enforcement to have a public opinion. And that's true when you're in uniform. Like, they fucking control what you can say, obviously. And the reason for that is because there's been a lot of dumb fucking people that have said stupid shit in uniform. But as far as a podcast, there's certain parameters that you have to stay within, which any smart person would know not to do. Like, we never talked about where we worked, like specific agency, because that's fucking suicide. And we never talked about we never used people's names, but we told stories. And what was funny, and this may happen to you or has already happened to you, we would tell stories about shitty commanders in our department. And then, like, we come in the next day after we released the episode, and we'd be walking down the hallway, and they'd be like, "Oh, were you talking about Sergeant so-and-so? Or were you talking about Captain so-and-so?" We were like, "Yeah, we were talking about them." And they were like, "Oh, man, I figured it was him. I was like, "Yep." But,
we haven't got to the point yet of commanders, but...
Oh, it's coming, man. It's coming. Yeah. Baby steps. Baby steps. I love it. But the thing is, and we used to say it, like, I think the earlier episodes are still available on Spotify, but we used to say it all the time, which is, if you're hearing this stuff and you're in our department, do some self-reflecting. Say to yourself, hey, listen, am I that guy? Am I that girl? Am I doing this? And if you're even doubting whether or not you do that, then you do it. And you got to stop fucking doing it. Because nobody wants to work for that fucking asshole. Nobody wants to work for a dick. If you take good care of your fucking people, you lead from the front, and you make an honest, good faith decision when you're making decisions, people are going to respect you. When I was a sergeant, there were a lot of shitty decisions that I had to make. There was a lot of shitty stuff I had to do to officers because they did it to themselves, but I was brutally honest with them. When I would do an internal investigation, I knew from the fucking moment I started doing the investigation that somebody was going to get their dick smacked. I knew it. And I would tell them, I would be like, listen, you're not going to lose your job, but this is going to fucking hurt. Like, you're going to get smacked around. But this is the reason why you're going to get smacked around. And I'm going to try and do my fucking best to jump on a grenade for you to mitigate as much of the collateral damage as possible. And that's what your job is. And I think fucking commanders and sergeants forget that. They forget that's the reason why. They're the buffer between upstairs. They're in the shit sandwich. You got the officers at the bottom, you got you, and then you got the fucking airheads up at the top. And you got to be that buffer. And I don't think that happens very much anymore. It's unfortunate. It really is.
Well, to pat you on the back a little bit, those earlier episodes, Swagger and I were introduced by a former supervisor who was hearing your episodes and realizing that paper for minor stuff is bullshit. And he actually made a lot of amends after hearing your stuff and realizing that it's bullshit and he shouldn't be doing it.
Yep. And now the pendulum has swung the other way, which is you're doing even more paperwork for dumb shit. Like, is it LAPD? I think it's LAPD. If it's one of the fans that are in LAPD, first of all, get out of there, go somewhere else. Second of all, email me because I want to know. I think I read an article somewhere. I read so much shit that now handcuffs on somebody is a use of force investigation. So when you place handcuffs on somebody, it's a use of force investigation because you are using force and you're taking their liberties away from them. Detainment or arrest. That's the article that I read. Doesn't matter if it's a detainment or arrest. Put handcuffs on somebody, the supervisor has to investigate it. It's a fucking absurd. That's absurd. The amount of stupid fucking investigations. I once did this investigation, guys, on one of my officers for not giving a business card to a citizen. For not giving a fucking business card to a citizen. He said, my badge number, this is my name, and that's it. And the person came trotting into police headquarters, and I went upstairs because we were down in the basement. I came upstairs. I was like, how can I help you? And they were like, I want to make a complaint against so-and-so. And I was like, really? That guy? Like, that's weird. And they were like, he wouldn't give me his business card. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. What? And I was like, and the funny part was I didn't have any business cards on me. So when they asked for my shit, I was like, I don't have any on me. I ran out. And the department doesn't even fucking pay for them. That's the other thing, by the way, guys. So I went downstairs. I went to my fucking lieutenant, who was a fucking idiot. And he was like, you got to investigate it. You got to ask for a II number. You got to enter it in the system. I was like, so my officer is going to get a fucking ding because we had a reporting system called Blue Team. I don't know what you guys use, but we have this reporting system that some fucking idiot from our department brought over. And Blue Team, what it does is every time you get an internal investigation, it logs it on each different officer. And there is a grading system for each officer going from green, yellow to red. When they hit the yellow, they need to be pulled in. They need to be sent for like verbal judo or whatever they need to do to not hit that red. And if they hit the red, then they're high risk. Then you need to really fucking hone in and start micromanaging them because they're getting too many uses of force. It doesn't take into consideration that this officer is a drug interdiction officer who deals with the worst of the worst and is making 100 arrests a month. And out of 100, 3 of them fight him and he punches the shit out of them and then gets to use force. Now he's in the red. So the system makes it look like he's a fucking troublemaker. But in reality, he's not. So writing an officer up for not having a fucking business card, that's a ding. And that goes on your evaluation at the end of the year. For our department, it was. And my lieutenant was like, that's it. That's the policy. It says it in the policy that you have to give your name and rank. And I said, he did give his name and rank. He's like, well, just do it. You know, you're going to clear him anyway. I was like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. We shouldn't be using internal investigations just to appease citizens. We should be telling them, hey, listen, go fuck yourself. Here's a QR code. Scan this. It's on my dick. See, I told you guys before, I couldn't get back into law enforcement now. Like, I'd get fired, man. I wouldn't deal with that shit. I would be like, you want my business card? Sure. It's on my dick. Well, imagine getting that call as a sergeant. Like,
you know, for us, our department's a little bit better in the fact that, like, I'll willingly hand out my information and tell them go file a complaint because I know that I didn't do anything wrong and it's all being recorded. But our program
you guys have body cam
Squirrel program.
Yeah, we got body cam.
Oh, fuck.
It's called a manila envelope and a secret squirrel folder when they want to use it.
The buddy fuck system. The buddy fuck system, which is I'll pull this out when I need something or when I no longer need you, which is fucking ridiculous. Body cam, we didn't have them. Our city couldn't afford it, or they could afford it, but they wouldn't do it because they were like, we don't want to spend $6 million on this shit, which is great because it made my life easier as a supervisor. I don't know if you guys saw my ADHD is kicking in. There was an FBI report that came out, I think it was this month. So the big thing was a big push for body cams over the last 18 months. Body cams. It's going to change everything. We're going to get to see how much excessive force there is with law enforcement, how disrespectful they are to the public. So the FBI released a report, I think it was last week or the week before, and it has had zero effect on law enforcement uses of force. Zero. Even with all the stuff in the news with Kim Potter and Chauvin, where the fuck dummy's name is, it's had no effect whatsoever. It's been zero change. So all this toting about body cams has done nothing but get Axion fucking super rich. Like,
yeah.
Those motherfuckers are like, they're rolling in the dough. They're like, oh yeah,
so
body cams.
So go ahead.
No, you're go ahead.
Oh, well, so we filled our memory banks within the first year, and then we started getting new policies talking about, whether or not we should label a video and whether it's going to go to the cloud. And I mean, it was quick. So those guys are making a ton of money.
They're making fucking bank. And not only are they making bank, but like cases are getting thrown out of court because the cloud is not secure as people think it is. Right. And Axion, the staff at Axion, I think it's some fucking crazy number. Like 1,200 people have access to the cloud. So in essence, 1,200 people have the ability to manipulate a video if they wanted to. Why they would want to manipulate Snoopy's fucking arrest in fucking dumb fuck New Mexico is beyond me. But defense attorneys are using it. They're like, I want to get this thrown out because it's not secure. And it's working, so good for them for using it.
Checks and balances.
That's it, baby. Checks and balances. Checks and balances. So, what have you guys discussed on your show already? What do you have planned? What could the people expect from you? I heard that there's going to be a dunk tank. No? Okay, no.
No.
No dunk tank. All right.
So far we're pretty much in the infant stages. We've only released a few episodes, but kind of premise of our, what's that?
I like them. Who was the one that sent it to me?
That was me.
Turk. Yep.
Yeah, you sent it to me and you were like, "Hey, could you listen to these?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll listen to them." And I was listening to them on my way into work because I have a boring government job now, so this is what I do.
I guess the premise of our podcast is we kind of like to think of it as like the two squad cars in a parking lot, driver's side door to driver's side door, just talking about life, talking about work. And from our experience, that was the best therapy you could have at times. Yep. You're having issues at work, having issues at home. You talk to your buddy in either the 5 minutes between hot calls or the hour on overnights when nothing's going on. And sometimes you get your problem solved, sometimes you don't, but you feel better driving away from there because you got it off your chest.
And that's beautiful because with everything that's going on in law enforcement, mental health, you're probably, or you are, I'd bet that you are already, are giving people relief that they need. That's always been the goal of this podcast, was mental health and having people have an outlet and not being ashamed to be like, hey, I'm not okay. And it's good. That's what I love about your show was I felt like I was in the car. Like I felt like I was in the room with you guys. I like the flow. I like how it went. I felt like I was in the car, but I was in the back seat. Like I was the suspect that was pissing all over himself. That was me. Like I felt like I had my head like peeking between the divider, like The Shining. I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
You were the naked guy that I had to fight that we talked about.
Yes, yes. And you know what I love about that episode was you were so fucking right. I think we talked about it like in season 1. It's never fucking Channing Tatum. It's never fucking like that fucking guy with the weird eye from Aquaman. What's his name? I don't know. Yeah, that guy. It's never them.
No.
It's always like Coco with like one eye and a droopy lip. And
you end up losing your hand somewhere for a little bit and you're not sure where it went.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, I tell you, I got like, especially in the Crown Vics, which were really fun. I loved Crown Vics. I got to be like a real expert looking through the rearview mirror and knowing whether or not somebody was taking a piss in the back of my car. I got to be an expert. And let me tell you, that's not good. Like that's not normal. Like I would like look in the rearview mirror and I'd be like, motherfucker, this motherfucker is pissing in the back of my fucking car. And you could just tell, man, they got that face. They're just like, oh, and then they get all happy because their bladder is like, and you're like,
I just really
fucker. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, the lean back. That's when it's over. It's like, oh,
Turk,
yeah.
You were the last one to have a Crown Vic at the department, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
I love that car.
I want to buy one as a personal vehicle. Like you can tell that your backup was coming from a mile away because it sounded like a fucking like John Deere coming. I was like, yeah, you're like, oh, you're fucking done, buddy. You're done. I fucking knew it, man. I'm like, the cavalry's coming, motherfucker. But then now you have like the Tauruses and the Explorers that sound like just like a vagina kind of. It's just like
get the high whine.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Who hated those Crown Vics was our dispatchers because between the engine and then my dog barking over the fucking radio. Can you repeat?
Before I left my department, they had bought 3 what do they call those? Hybrid cars, and they were silent. Like it was like a push button start, and you didn't even know that the car was on. Like I don't know, I couldn't do that, man. Like NYPD has 200 Teslas. Man, I would be fucking wrecking them. I would destroy them. I'd be like, let's see what this battery's got. But
we got one car that's it's going it's an Explorer, but it sounds like it's going to take off every like 30 seconds and then it just starts to quiet back out and then it's like take off again. You're going, oh, this thing's going to blow up. You just see like the suspects standing around the vehicle because they're like, what's wrong with the vehicle?
so Nick, the one that he's talking about has almost 150,000 miles on it. And then we've got another one.
Shit.
We've got another one that's brand new that is sitting in the garage and has been sitting there for a year and has not been outfitted yet.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We're being told that COVID has got stuff on back order and they can't get the parts to outfit it, but
that's bullshit. We blame COVID on everything, bro. Like, COVID
really
is
the
like
parts are sitting on the Pacific Ocean.
Somebody, and it definitely was not anyone on this podcast, but somebody wrote in the dust, "Wash me," and there was an email out shortly after that.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that. Yeah. Oh man, I tell you, that was one thing about my old department was they never kept cars over 54,000 miles. Like they got rid of them pretty quickly. It was just that's the way that they had it in the budget. So we always had nice cars. And then like there'd be a couple of stragglers, like old cars just like kind of hanging around. And those are the ones that just got like passed around like a fucking like a $5 whore, you just fucking just trying to run that thing into the ground. But the newer cars, I don't know. I don't like the Taurus. I think the Taurus fucking feels like a sardine can when you're trying to drive it. There's like no room in it. Yeah, it's garbage, man. And even the Explorer, like it's a little bit better, but I like the Tahoe's real nice. But that Crown Vic, man, the Crown Vic is just, if it's good enough to be a fucking taxi, it's good enough to be a police car.
Those things were the stallions of law enforcement.
They were around fucking like forever, dude. They like, and Ford's bringing them back. That's the other thing. Ford's bringing back the Crown Vic. So just for law enforcement.
I did see that.
It's gonna be fucking crazy. It's gonna be crazy. So
all these new kids are gonna complain about it, but
oh yeah, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this thing's a piece of shit. I want a Dodge Charger. I want the transmission to fail." But in true roll call room fashion, it would not be a real episode if I didn't do a game with you guys. All right.
Right on. I was hoping.
So this is gonna. Yeah, I worked all day at work today. Your tax dollars on your next paycheck where it says FICA. Thank you. You paid for this game. So this game is called Name That TV Show. Name That Police TV Show. And this is straight out of IMDb, just so people don't think that I'm bullshitting, that I made these up. I'm going to read the description of what's in the IMDb description, and then you guys tell me what the show is, all right?
We're about to lose all of our listeners.
Well, if Mike was on this thing, he'd get like 0 out of whatever many there are. He's terrible at these, and he fucking hates them. All right. Detectives from the NYPD's 15th precinct investigate homicides within their precinct. What law enforcement TV show is it? Holy shit. Do you guys need me to... Your police officer.
Can you guess?
Let me read this one more time. Detectives from the NYPD's 15th precinct investigate homicides within their precinct. What show? You guys are going to get so much fucking hate mail from people.
Is this like a newer show?
No, I can't tell you that. Come on, man.
Well, we don't got time to watch you.
This is like a classic, man. How could you not get this?
I have no idea.
I'm taking a guess.
Go.
And is it NYPD Blue?
Boom!
Yeah!
Yeah, that's right, man.
I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, Blue Bloods? No, it's got to be something else. But you started talking about NYC, and I'm going, it has to be NYPD.
Yep, 15th precinct. All right, next one. Series following an elite team of police investigating experts as they work their cases in Las Vegas. It's the worst description.
That's got to be a CSI.
CSI.
Right?
Boom! Good job, guys. Now listen, if you guys don't get this one, I want you to march into your fucking chief's office tomorrow and give your badges back, all right? Camera crews follow police officers while they work.
Well, there's 2 of those though.
Yeah,
live PD or cops.
I'm only going with the classic.
Cops. Obviously, cops.
Bam! Boom! You got it. All right, this is a good one. You got to know this one. The Baltimore drug scene as seen through the eyes of drug dealers and law enforcement.
The Wire.
Yep.
Boom! Nice. Or better known as Baltimore City's mayor's office. The next one is follows 2 undercover detectives as their extended team through the mean streets of Miami, Florida.
Oh, Bad Boys.
And they're extended. This is TV show.
Oh,
Miami
TV show.
Bam! You got it.
All right. I didn't know if we were switching to movies.
No.
All right, all TV shows.
I would never trick you like that, man.
Oh,
I got integrity. No matter what my last agency says. All right. Comedy series following the exploits of a detective and his diverse, lovable colleagues as they police the NYPD's blank precinct. I can't tell you the
Brooklyn
precinct.
Nine-Nine.
Bam! Fuck yeah, man.
I'm nothing but a nerd if that.
He fucking carried you on this game, man.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Turk is still in the show.
All right, you guys got it, man. That was easy, right? I fucking tell Mike.
For Turk, it was easy. For me, not so much.
Yeah, well, he carried you, man.
Speaking of Mike, we scheduled this appointment, and I had some guy named Mike calling me from another podcast saying he wanted me on, and I said, "I don't know who you are."
So the original fucking Mike.
I said the roll call room is my ride or die, and I'm not moving away from it.
I'm starting another podcast because the other one was unsuccessful. So. Cops want to listen to religious shit. That's what they want to listen to while they're driving around. But the current Mike, he absolutely fucking hates it. The next episode him and I do together, we're I don't know if you guys saw, we did a hot wing challenge, and
yep.
I'll never do that shit again. That fucked me up. My fucking asshole's never been the same after that. But we're gonna do that hot chip. You guys, have you seen that one?
Yep.
I was just gonna ask if you guys are doing that next.
Yeah, I got it like 2 months ago. I've just been fucking waiting for Mike for us to do it, and then we want to do a hard-boiled egg challenge.
Ooh,
like who could eat the most hard-boiled eggs
and sit in a squad car together?
You know what? I think we eat hard-boiled eggs and sit in a sauna together.
Oh,
think about that, bro.
That would entertain one of our listeners.
Yeah, he loves the sauna.
Does he?
I don't know if he'll like the hard-boiled eggs.
only listens to our podcast in the sauna.
The weirdest thing I've ever gotten a picture was one of our fans listening to our show on the shitter. Like, I was like, you don't need to share that, bro. You know, there's things we should just leave to the imagination. That's one of them.
It's a little
well, fellas, I appreciate you guys coming on. Tell them again what the name of the show is.
The Spinning Our Gears podcast.
And there's a couple episodes out right now. You can find them on Spotify. You can find them on... are you guys on Apple too?
We're on Apple, Spotify, and Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're on Google for right now. We'll see how long that lasts. Censored. Gone.
Well, you know what? Home Depot's hiring, so there's that. I would love to see two like former law enforcement guys working at fucking Home Depot. Like, that'd be fucking hilarious. Like, what do I look like to you? I'm fucking stocking shelves. Leave me the fuck alone.
So I'm gonna need you to be right now.
What is it? Ask, tell, and make. That's the
yes.
Yeah.
You're learning.
I need you to leave my aisle. I'm telling you to leave my aisle. I'm making you leave my aisle.
I take it you listen to Sovereign Citizens.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I did, man. Fuck yeah. I do my homework, bro. I'm smart. I wrote books.
Hey, your books are fucking excellent, by the way. I'm going to give you a plug on your own show as if you need it.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks. I honestly don't know where those come from. I started partnering up with people that have reached out that are really, really awesome people that in law enforcement or just left law enforcement that have been like, you know, I want to write a book. I just don't know where to start. And then I'm like, let's do one together. Let's do your first one together. So now we're doing a series of 5 books that are training books. We put one out that was the traffic stop. We put one out that's mental health and de-escalation. We're putting one out called the subject stop. That should be coming out pretty soon. We're doing one called homicide investigations. The publication company made me change the name of it. It was Homicide Investigations, How Not to Trip on Your Dick. But they won't let me have that. And then the fifth one is domestic calls. Always bring a Band-Aid. That's not the name of it, but it's just domestic. But I'm trying to pass the torch on. Like, I know a lot of the new officers, they're not getting really good training, or they're getting trained by, 2-year officers or 3-year officers. Yep. And it's bad, man. It's really bad. Like, there's people that are getting trained by like officers that just like have a year on. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand what you're supposed to learn with that. Like, how to fuck up. I mean, I just don't know.
How to call
so we put these books together. Yeah, and I think a lot of it is a lot of the senior officers don't want to fucking field train because they're like, that's an even bigger liability. Like, look what happened.
Or they're told by their command staff they have too much on their plate, but then when they get it 6 months later, they're told that it's excellent.
Yeah. I always like that one. Oh, you got a lot of stuff on your plate. I just want you to focus on what you got going on now, and we'll reevaluate in the future. Well, I want to reevaluate how much you're a fucking asshole. That's what I want to evaluate. But yeah, so we'll I forgot where I was going with that. Man, this ADHD is fucking killing me. God, I can't wait for Alzheimer's or I just can't wait, man. It's going to be so awesome. Every day is going to be a different day. I'm going to get an email about that. I can already tell. So you guys have a couple of episodes out. I encourage the fans, go check it out. And the thought process is when we don't have episodes out of the Roll Call Room, or when we do, listen to both of them, because we get tons of emails from people asking why we're not putting one out a week, and we're trying, but life happens. So, gents, do you have anything you want to tell the fans before we go?
Turkey, got anything? I got nothing, man.
I doing everything I could not to geek out right now. This was awesome for both of us to come on here because we love your show so much, and try not to be a fanboy.
I was sitting over here trying to reel him in like the whole past week. Calm down. Like the scene off of The Office. What's the procedure? Like,
no script either. Everything except for the fucking game. There's no script ever for this show. Like,
that's the best way to do it. Is just wing it.
Just wing it, and we don't even edit anymore. Like, when we first started, we would edit because my original co-host would say the department's name, or he'd let it slip. He'd say my last name, or when we were telling stories about a commander, we would let it slip who it was, and I have to go back and fucking delete it. And then once I left the department, I was like, fuck you. Like, this is who I used to work for. This is the chief that was a fucking dick. And, that there's no more editing. So, but I don't have any, like, I don't work for law enforcement, or else I would have to edit or, censor some of the stuff that I did. So I feel for you guys. I've been in your spot. I know what it's like to kind of walk on eggshells, but do the fans right. Stay genuine, stay the course that you are right now. And you guys are going to have great success. I think it's going to kick off really well for you.
Hopefully we're looking to make the career field better for us, for those that came before us and those that are going to come after us. So
that's all you can do. That's all you can do. One person at a time. All right, folks. As always, if you need to get a hold of me, you can reach me at nick@rollcallroom.com. Check out the books on Amazon, and you can go on our site, rollcallroom.com. All right, fellas, it's been a pleasure, and be safe, everybody.
Do you want to help the Roll Call Room podcast keep going? Of course you do. Join Patreon and pledge to the show each month. Tiers start at $5 and you can get some pretty cool shit with it, including swag and access to listen to episode clips early. So put that Starbucks coffee down and help my dad keep the show going. Don't be a fucking Steve. Go to rollcallroom.com to pledge today.
Law enforcement suicides are at an all-time high right now. One of the causes is poor leadership within the law enforcement profession. Nick, the host of the Roll Call Room podcast, has written a book, Police Mental Barricade, A Survivor's Guide to Poor Law Enforcement Leadership. This book is a raw and powerful look into suicide and how poor leadership decisions contribute to law enforcement suicides. Buy the book now at mentalhealthbarricade.com and stop the stigma.